Well, in honor of the most watched Breaking Bad episode up to this point, we got to go with a moneymaker, bringing in our most watched guest as well. So, bring him in.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, hey, who are you?
Do what you got to do.
Oh, it's Todd.
Oh, just Todd.
Just Todd.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Almost Sideshow, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Adam. The gentleman to my left and right, that's Todd. That's Terry. Excited to be back here for Season 5, Episode 14, Ozymandias, where we're breaking down Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad. It's a somber event. Oh, my God. I'm distraught with this one, folks. This could be a fun conversation. Of course, we had to bring in our good buddy Todd to break it down today. Guys, how are we feeling after we just watched this episode? I see some Gomi love on a tag here. So what's going on?
Oh, tight, yeah.
Yeah, we're I don't know. This episode, this is a gut punch episode, and we're going to talk plenty about it, but my word, it's a gut punch, but it's all just so good too. Todd, you wanted to be on. You were texting us earlier. This episode has a very impressive distinction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the only episode of TV on IMDb to have a perfect 10 out of 10 score because it's pretty objectively the greatest episode of television ever. I mean, it may not be like my favorite episode to watch because it is so heavy, but it is like a roller coaster. And I remember back when I used to watch Talking Dead. I think it was the episode that Glenn dies. Like they start out and Chris Hardwick's like, I can't even do the comedy on this one. This just doesn't feel good. And that's sort of the way you come in after Ozymandias, because I mean it's rough.
The first time he died, or the second time he died? Anyway. Oh wow! Talking Dead. There we go. There's that word again. Heavy. It's a very heavy episode for sure.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness. Yeah,
but in so many ways like a perfect episode too.
It's by far the perfect episode. Like I did hint at, like it was the most watched episode up to this point. The record does break the following episode. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, this Ozymandias episode, I didn't know. Some of the stuff I said was going to happen, kind of wheels started turning from the previous episode we done. But man, Hank's line is going to always stick with me. You're the smartest man I know, but you're too dumb to realize that he made his mind up 10 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And shoots him mid-sentence. Oh, what a gut punch.
My name's Zach Schrader.
Yeah. Yes. Like we'll get into that. Let's get to our summary. But before we do, I have to shout out my wife, who I was looking through the fridge of what I was going to drink for our podcast, and we always do the what are we drinking on the regular podcast, but she bought me a special sideshow beer this time because this is about as apt as you can get. So this is out of Silver City Brewing in, I don't even know where this is at. Bremerton, Washington. There you go. But it's called Ride the Spiral. And I think that is about as apt of a beer title as you can have to drink for an episode like this, because that's all you're doing. You're just on the ride for the downward spiral. Yeah, so let's get into it. Let's do it. This episode,
by the way, did air September 15th, 2013. I just don't want to forget that part. So,
and the third and final episode directed by Ryan Johnson too. So,
and the third episode involving a dog. We had a rabid dog. We had a stray dog. Stop jumping ahead.
We'll get into all that. Let's set this up.
Hear it now. Okay.
All right. Breaking Bad, Season 5, Episode 14 is entitled Ozymandias. And it all comes tumbling down. In the place it all started, Walt's world finally falls apart. Gomi is dead. Hank is executed. Walt reveals his money is buried nearby trying to save Hank so Uncle Jack and crew can take whatever all that he's worked so hard for. Walt is angry and needs someone to blame. Jesse. He blames Jesse in the moment. Walt reveals his hiding place under Walt's car, and he wants Jesse dead. Instead of executing him, Todd convinces Uncle Jack to spare his life so they can interrogate him. Todd also wants his help to fix the cook. When he hears Jesse won't die right away, Walt reveals that he watched Jane die and let her die to make Jesse feel dead. Now Jesse is imprisoned by Todd and crew. Walt is left with his life and 1 barrel of money. When his car runs out of gas, he finds the closest car he can find and buys it. He races home and starts packing. Eventually, Skylar and the kids get home. Skylar has just been confronted by Marie, who tells her Walt has been arrested. She needs to tell Flynn and start to make things right. Flynn doesn't take it well. When they get home and find Walt without Hank and not in handcuffs, they fear the worst. Walt says pack, and he'll explain later. Skylar wants to know where Hank is. Eventually, Skylar pulls a knife on Walt and cuts his hand. The struggle is finally ended when Flynn gets involved and calls the cops. Walt storms out and takes Holly with him. Realizing he's lost it all, Walt decides to make as much right as he can before he disappears. He calls Skylar, who is now in a room surrounded by police and Marie. He uses the phone call to berate Skylar, making it seem like she has been his prisoner this whole time, practically exonerating Skylar of all wrongdoing in one conversation. He also takes credit for Hank's death, ensuring Uncle Jack won't be connected to it and comes seeking retribution. He then leaves Holly at a fire station, calls Saul's disappearing guy, and does what Jesse didn't do. He gets in the van and drives away into a seemingly new identity. The mighty have fallen about as far as they can fall. That's the episode. Adam, you've already given some initial thoughts, but what are you thinking?
This is the best episode of TV. Like, this is by far the best episode of all television. My God, what a brilliantly written episode. It didn't blue. It was the bomb though. It was fantastic from start to finish. I was emotional and stuff. And even, I said I was going to record it, but I couldn't do it because my wife doesn't want to be on camera too. So how my setup is, she would be in there. So I was like, no, let's take in the moment. And I feel like that was such a more personalized episode. I'm not maybe acting a certain way when you have the camera on you, type of thing. So it was a very personalized take on it. And man, it almost brought me to tears. The Hank stuff was fantastic. They did go me extremely dirty. Uncle Jack's goons are extremely stupid. The first place to check is under the damn car, especially there's no footprints out into the desert. Like, how did they not figure that out? Anyway, but that whole opening was fantastic too, with the flashback. Come to find out, did some digging here, that was the last scene they ever filmed in the entire show, which is great, really cool too. There was some good stuff in that. Good stuff in that opening sequence there. The Marie going to A1 car wash. That was not expecting that, and how it kind of played out. Was pretty emotional, especially revealing it to Flynn. It went from that.
I'm pretty sure Marie did not have an A1 day.
She did not. None of them did.
No.
And now you don't even hear Skylar calling Walter Jr. It's Flynn now in the car. He's like, do I really give a shit about a seatbelt? That's a great line. That was good. The whole the fight in the car. This is the most interesting commentary that my wife had actually contributed in this episode, because we were both really floored emotionally by it. But she's like, what did she think was going to happen? You pull a knife on him and attack him. He was not going to turn the tables on you, and do something like that. That was she was anti-Skylar in that moment. It's like, what are you doing? But at the same time, I get in that moment you're having an emotional reaction where he thinks he killed Hank. And the ending phone call will also go down as one of like the great, like, you just got her out of jail free card. That was the big thing. And even in Marie's mind too, like, yeah, you're out of jail free. There too. There's some other little takeaways here too. I want you guys to speak on some stuff as well, but this is by far like the best episode of Breaking Bad, and I probably some of my other favorite shows too. It's hard to argue why this shouldn't get a 10 out of 10. Like, this is by the definition of like being an all-time classic show. And yeah, this is a great television.
It had all been building to this, right? Like the in some ways the entire show had been building to this moment. And because when this whole thing starts, there's going to come a time where it has to all come crumbling down. And you have little snippets of, oh, is Tuco going to bring this all down? And is Jane going to bring this all down? Is Gus going to bring it all down? Is Mike going to bring it all down? But then you see how it actually plays out, and it couldn't have gone. It couldn't have gone another way and been more effective. Yes, I remember my first initial reaction when I watched this the first time is exactly what my tagline is. Gomi got done dirty. Like, he at least deserved a death scene. Not just to open up and he's already laying face down in the dirt. He deserved more than that. But I mean, the last time we do see him alive, he's wielding that shotgun like a badass. But much better than Todd at shooting, for sure. But Hank has the moment. Like, if Hank is like one of the most cherished, beloved characters of the whole thing. He's got that character that you just love, and he's had such a cool arc throughout the whole thing. You don't want to see him go out any other way. Like, that is the perfect way to see Hank go out. And then just to see how it all ends up playing out, and it all just kind of keeps descending until the point that Walt realizes it's over. And there's nothing else to be done. And then he looks just for that smallest bit of silver lining. And that the ending of this episode is just like, you mentioned it, like it's you said it was the get out of jail free card, but the way that scene is worked. And I was reading that apparently some people were confused. Like, what is this? Is this legit? Like, no, you're reading it wrong if you think he's being sincere in that moment. But he's so good at it, and you see,
He has to be, because
Skylar's face.
Cops are there.
But you see Skylar's face change, and as she realizes what he's doing, and she's like, "Oh, I know," and like I'm gonna give you a gift because no matter what, family is still first for him. And
we're a family.
We're exactly. A family. Yep. Just call him Dominic Toretto, because it's all about family. He and you see Skylar's face change of like, he is doing what he needs to protect his family. And right now, the only thing his family needs is at least one parent still around. And he makes sure that happens. And it's the smallest little sliver of redemption he could have in that moment, and it's just so good. Todd, you haven't talked for a little while. Why is this the best episode in TV history?
Well, I mean, every scene is pretty much perfect, but I mean, it's one of the rare times in anything where you get the climactic moment is the opening of the episode. Because the last one ended on a cliffhanger, you get Hank's death right off the bat, and then everything else is fallout from the beginning of the episode, not from the previous episode, which is amazing because it does sort of like, after that, lull its way into something to where it reaches like an absolute downfall for all the characters. You do get little fun stuff like when Walt's rolling the barrel, you get to see stuff from the past, like you get to see the pants that he wasn't wearing in the opening flashback scene and stuff like that. Like
I missed that. I saw someone mention that afterwards. I was like, oh, I need to go back and watch it again. Just like
it's the credits, so I mean, it's the time that you probably are like just like decompressing from what you just watched. But while he's rolling the barrel, which is obviously calling back to when Walt and Jesse rolled the barrel or whatever.
Roll it.
And I mean, you get some great Todd in this episode too. Like he takes a place several times throughout the season of being just like the most confusingly cold-blooded person, because I think he confuses himself too. But here you realize just how evil he is and manipulating, even though he seems like he has his head in the right, or his heart in the right place sometimes. But what he does to Jesse is awful. And then, like you guys said, the phone call scene. I remember the first time I watched that scene, it reminded me so much of the ending of Monster, when Eileen's on the phone with Selby, and when she realizes that she has the cops on the line with her, she like changes her tune and starts like saying like, you know, like she didn't know anything about it. And that's what I always thought, like this was playing on that a little bit, and it works so well. And plus Walt is still being Walt. Like he's like Hank said, he's the smartest guy around, but he's not really street smart. Like he's trying to intimidate, but he's still saying things like immoral and toe the line. Like, I mean, it calls back to like when Jesse says about the place where they're meeting Tuco, like, you know, this looks like a non-drug dealer's idea of a drug deal. Well, I mean, like the way Walter talks in that is like a non-gangster's idea of gangster intimidation, but it works because Walt is so intimidating sounding, but like what he says isn't really all that much. But that's just Walt being Walt. And that is the scene. The phone call scene is so good. Mm-hmm. And obviously changes the direction of where you think this is going after that, where he obviously is not just some deranged monster who just kidnapped a child.
True. A couple things too. We mentioned some of the best television. The previous favorite episode I've ever watched TV is the Red Wedding episode in Game of Thrones, and you said something really awesome in this when you say you're dealing with the fallout in the beginning of the episode. Usually, big death scenes are the ending of episodes, where the next episode you're dealing with the fallout. I think it was so effective.
Or even worse, in between episodes, Gomi.
Yeah, that is true, Gomi.
That's not the big episode. Gomi's like not even. He's like a regular. He's not even like a main cast member.
Yeah, I don't care. Come on, man.
He did have the shotgun. I mean, like in Rian Johnson's Looper, like, and wasn't Emily Blunt that had the shotgun? Like he had the awesome scene where he's just like, man, that guy really knows how to use that thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So seeing that, like, this one by far takes the cake on like just how heavy like the episode actually feels, and it's weighted very well and balanced pretty dang well too. So looking forward to diving into some of these more crazier categories in this very serious episode.
All right, so I mean, our first one is always best scene. We've kind of referenced a few things. I literally just wrote down every scene because every scene is amazing. So instead of best scene, like favorite scene, because they're all great in this episode. Todd, what's your favorite scene?
I mean, it's probably. Other than the phone call, I guess I would say when Jesse sees what his new lab is going to look like. That's also just another heartbreaking scene because he's all beat up, but I mean, then he sees that he's going to be on like a track, like a retracting like thing, because he's not going to be able to ever. He's realized he's a slave at that point. I mean, and that scene's really cool because he sees from the distance. He's like, he thinks he sees what he thinks he sees, and then he goes up and sees what he sees, and it's just like, oh, Jesse.
I freaking called it. I hate it. I was like, they're gonna use him. I'll use that or something. I hate it so much. It's a
Adam,
good call.
what's your favorite scene?
Well, obviously, I think the phone call and the opening we can't really say.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about those.
I honestly think the cold open with him talking about Holly and like, oh, it's kind of growing on me. Let's go out and do a hike and go out here and get some dinner. And that was the first time he lied, right? So he's practicing it. He's a rookie at lying. He's like, oh, he's Bogdan, the douchebag's back. Got a bug up his butt. So yeah, the opening like that, and you see like Jesse being like not cool. Jesse was being like, this is what a cool guy should do. He's just playing with a stray stick, kind of like that episode with Mike on the phone. He's like in the background playing with a stick in the background. It's great, but that's
I'm an idiot.
Yeah, like
like you're an idiot.
Like you're an idiot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great call. That is a great call. Yeah, I think like the Hank death scene and the phone call are like the non-negotiables. Like those are great, and we've talked a lot about it.
Rushmore best scenes of the show.
Yeah, too. But and just the way Hank goes out, like that. Yeah, it's just I've already mentioned it, but yeah, the way he's able to go out with all the dignity and class in the world, and only in a way Hank could go out, it's just perfect.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna pick something else, I might pick when Skylar and the kids get home. Like everything that happens in that moment and all Skylar can say is, "Where's Hank? Where's Hank?" And he's like, "We gotta pack. You don't understand. We have to pack right now." And it just all devolves and spirals completely out of control to the point that, yeah, Walt starts to realize this is, we're a family. We're not a family anymore. That realization to him is just like, that's when he realizes he's hit rock bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost the thing that was the motivation this entire time. And when he sees how much, his own son is now against him and is, jumping on him to knock the knife out of his hands and then calling the cops on him and lying about exactly what's going on so that it makes him look as bad as possible. It's like, now my son is lying for me. And I've lost it all. And the only innocent one in the whole thing is the baby, and he takes her with. And yeah, it's that scene. That's when it all, like, he has that moment of it's all fallen. It's over.
When he kind of knew that was going to happen, but the only reason why his plan didn't work is because of Marie. If Marie hadn't gone to the car wash, they would have just been like, "Oh, I guess something's wrong. We really have to leave," and they would have.
That's true.
Probably. It was all because of Marie. But when Walt knows that when it's all gone south, when Hank dies, because he's laying there like Cameron Fry level catatonic after that for like the whole night basically while they're digging up the money. So
that's true.
Yeah, another scene I would say too is when he's changing the diaper. Yeah, that's another great scene. And then like the great line. Apparently, it's improvised. The kids saw that. The kids saw the mom behind Bryan Cranston, and she basically was saying "mama," and he just went with it. I think that I didn't know if they would actually they voiced over it, like just put a baby's voice in there, but it played that scene. I was like, shit, I shouldn't have taken you. And that's where the whole plan, I think, the whole phone call goes. And that was, as a parent, that's tough. That's a tough scene. I can, but that's a great scene too.
Yeah, I saw that too. That scene was not supposed to have the baby say anything, but I think with her saying that, that's what makes it work, and that's what makes it so heart-wrenching. Like if he's just staring at her and then decides to do what he does, I mean, it works, but not near as well. Having the baby saying "mama" at him, it's like, whoa, that just rips his heart out.
Mm-hmm.
It's the gut punch he needed. Yeah,
that's true.
All right. Such a good episode. My word. Let's do these categories now. The Ken wins Bogdan douchebag of the episode. I mean, it's obviously Bogdan.
Yeah, Bogdan.
He's got a bug up his ass.
Yeah.
And I mean, whenever his name pops up, he is definitely a douchebag. So that's who I'm going with. Adam, what do you got?
No, we can't take it. So let's go with the writer who just so happened to be in this episode for having a Gomi off-screen death. There we go. We can do that. I guess does that count? Are we allowed to do that?
I mean, you just did. So
well, we won't.
Moira Valley Beckett, the 3-time Emmy-winning writer,
who
also wrote the first episode of this show that I was on. I think it was it.
And she actually appeared in the episode.
Was who?
Yeah, she was at
She was
the car wash, right?
The car wash, and her name was on screen when she was actually on screen.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Todd, who's your douchebag?
It's Jack. I mean, and not just because he executes somebody. I mean, that's just a bad thing to do. But he sits there like a I don't know. While his guys are digging up the cash, he just sits there and busts out a cigarette, and he's just like, "What are you waiting for? Like, keep digging." Like he did not do a single thing there. He just watched him do it.
He's the boss, though. That's supervision. That's supervisor 101. You just delegate the work to somebody else and you just observe.
To his son, yes.
Well,
imagine Walt doing that to Walter Jr.
It'd take a lot longer. I'll tell you that.
The other one I had written down was Todd. And I mean, in some respects, you think he's giving, Jesse a mercy by saying, "Oh, let's not kill him." And it's like, "Oh no, you're just going to make his life a living hell." And that's really what's going on here.
Yeah, I don't think he necessarily sees it that way. That's the thing, though. It's like he thinks he's getting something out of it, but he also thinks like, well, this guy's a dead guy anyway. Like, why not use him?
Why not use him?
Well, yeah, because that's what great villains are. They're the heroes in their own story. So he's
such an odd character. Like there are so many weird quirks to that character that just like he is either severely misunderstood or the truest psychopath that we've seen. In that, I mean, just how unfeeling he is at times, but also he kind of have a feel. He does kind of have like he was like shedding tears over the whole thing with the kid that he shot at one point too. I don't know. He's such a conundrum.
Manipulating and cold-blooded as Gus, but he also feels innocent. It's so strange.
Yeah. And is constantly like portraying that innocent side. Yeah. And
he
it's
even says to Walt, he's like, "I'm sorry for your loss," which is probably one of the dumbest things said in the episode, but it's also just like one of those things where it's like, what the hell is he thinking? I mean,
he cares about
it's like
Walt.
you know where he's coming from, but also he's like his uncle just like executed him in front of him. It's like, sorry for your loss. That's not what we say.
But at the same time, Todd's the only reason Walt doesn't die in the desert too.
And gets money out of it too.
So
I don't think they were ever going to kill Walt.
Why would you?
No. Jack said, "My nephew has such great respect for you that I'm gonna let you go.
I'm gonna give you some money.
And I'm gonna give you some money for it." But
I have my guys load it.
I thought that was just in reference to him actually giving him some of his money back. I think Walt was too untouchable.
I don't know. He's a loose end. That's why Walt needs to get out. That's why when he gets back, he's like, "I gotta go." I think he was more scared of what Jack could do than what the cops were gonna do.
That's why he says the line that I killed Hank. Well, you'll never
Yeah,
see him.
they know. Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't gonna be very long before everyone realized that Hank and Gomi went out to the desert and died there. It's like, he knows he's got to get out because everybody's got to get out now. Everybody's in trouble.
Yeah.
And
But I don't think they had told anybody what they knew yet.
well, no, but when two federal agents just randomly disappear, you're going to track where they were last at, right?
Yeah, probably. All right.
No one knows. Anyway, that's the sad part.
The Pinkman Stickman Award, Adam.
Jeez Louise. Well,
Yeah.
is it Gomi and Hank because they go 6 feet under? I don't know.
They go in the hole. They got
I
in the
don't
hole.
know. What are we supposed to say here? They're like bullets? Like that's not funny. Well, maybe. I don't know.
Todd, you have something?
I wrote down a couple things. I wrote down the koala Care Bear because he had a car.
Clearly got it
He knew
in,
that at some point. And also Walter Jr.'s swag at the front counter. I feel like he could, if he acted like that all the time, like Flynn would be a stickman. But
He'd be in like Flynn.
And like Flynn. It's my favorite
Gotta
movie.
be like Flynn. Gotta be like Flynn.
Yeah. I'm gonna say the Native American man because I'm pretty sure he's wielding quite a stick. And in that case, so is Jesse Pinkman, Captain Cook, wielding quite the stick.
Is that? I mean, we're led to believe that old man's probably going to die in the desert now because now he has no way to get out of there. He's an old man. He's not going to walk through the desert and live, right?
No, because he's an elder probably, and there's stuff around.
The smartest thing Walt did in the desert was put a thing of cash in his pocket so he didn't have to open the barrel to pay for the car.
That's what I was like. He's opening the barrel in front of this old guy. What's the point?
You remember how hard it was for Huel and Kubi to pick up those barrels? Like, how did the old man and Walt get it in the truck?
And then like the two goons also picked it up pretty easily too. That's like,
I mean, I feel like you're saying Huel and Kubi. I think Huel's almost a detriment in that scenario.
Yeah, he does have a breathing problem.
he probably was laying on top of the barrel while they were getting it in because he just wanted to lay on the cash some more.
I gotta do it.
I gotta do it. All right, best new face.
Still probably on that couch too. He's still sitting there.
he's still sitting in the witness protection in the safe house. He's still there. Yeah. He's either there or he's on the toilet in that house. The best new face. Hey, that's Danny Trejo. Goes to Todd.
I mean, there aren't very many. I do like the Native American man, played by Saginaw Grant.
Oh, it's a good name.
It's like he's got a truck. It's really,
what was his real name? What's his name?
What, the actor?
Yeah,
Saginaw Grant.
Yeah, the Saginaw. Yes, Sagan. No, never mind. That's a bad. Never mind. Disregard. Keep going. Move along. Nothing to see here.
Yep, nothing to see. All right. Well, I'm gonna go with the fireman that finds Holly is played by Noah Segan, who is a frequent Rian Johnson guy. He's also a frequent, probably because he's a Rian Johnson guy. The first time I ever heard the name Noah Segan was on the You Must Remember This podcast. He's often on there giving voiceover as different characters. And that would make sense because Karina Longworth and Rian Johnson are an item. And so it would make sense that Noah Segan is just one of their buddies that they can call up and be like, hey, we need someone to do Orson Welles. Noah Segan, you got an Orson Welles in you? Yeah, I can figure something out. That's kind of the vibe you get because every time there's like a new voice, a male voice of some celebrity, it's usually Noah Segan that's doing it. So seeing him pop up, it was a nice little, oh, hey, that guy.
Good call. I like that one.
You have one, Adam?
Well, the customer at the car wash, Maura Wally Beckett, she got her her award for this episode here, as well as Anna Gunn and Bryan Cranston got their awards for the performances. But also, I guess one of the worst performances, I guess we could say, is the hostage negotiator who just holds that recorder up to the phone the whole entire time. That guy, yeah, he holds it well.
Talk about outdated.
Yeah, let's hold this little recorder to the phone.
Mm-hmm. All right. The old Joe Gomi minor character. I don't care. My favorite minor character is Gomi. It's the last time we can say it. He's face down in the dirt when we come in. Like literally, like I vividly remember watching this episode. It's one of the most vivid things I remember from the first time watching it is going, wait, they did that to Gomi? Come on.
That's the first.
But I'm also gonna say he's an LVP because I mean, you couldn't die a little closer to the car. It was a little easier to get that shotgun. Come on,
a little easier. Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on. So that's the other one.
It's a good one.
Adam.
The restaurant Finencias for the 2-for-1 special for the pizza. I think that's a really good, the pregnant woman wants the pizza, you get the pizza. So Finencias 2-for-1 special.
I like it. Todd.
I mean, it's got to be Lester, the bald brother, because he's bald, and he doesn't. I don't even actually think he has a line in this. Like he just helps with like the bodies and helps with the barrels, but he's a big bald man. He's awesome.
He is a big bald man. You're correct.
Big bald man.
All right. The cow house dumbest thing said. I mean, this episode, it is dark and deep and heavy. There are some interesting moments, though. Adam, did you have something?
Yes, there was something. Two things I'll point out at the beginning. The first sequence with old school Jesse. Put me in a coma, why don't you? Oh, and then he says, yeah, we got 8 more anal things to do. 8 more anal. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Pretty dumb.
I put just Jesse's first scene. That's what I had down. But Todd, did you have anything else?
Well, yeah. Well, part of that scene where when he sees Walt's underwear, he's just like, "Oh God, Jesus!" Just in a way that only Jesse can say, and he's just like, "Shut up,
shut up, grow up." It's underwear.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. What else was I looking at? Like I'm an idiot. That's a
good one.
Like that is like the most exasperated. And the other thing, I mean, we mentioned it last episode too, but this is right after he said there's only a cow house. So, I mean, this is about as bad as Jesse gets in that regard. And you could also say, I completely forgot about the Skylar eBay phase, and I sold the crying clown. It's like,
I have a bad view of
a very different view of what art is.
That's a good one. I totally forgot about the eBay stuff too.
Yeah, and which led to like one of the best scenes of the first episode is her tracking her eBay while also tracking something else. It's a great moment. It's a great moment.
Wait, what was she tracking again? I can't remember.
Walt's birthday present.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Nice. And, yeah. She was more excited about something else. Yeah. Any problems other than Gomi not having a death scene? Anything else outdated other than holding a
how long does it take
up to a phone?
How long does it take to freaking you trace a phone call. Like that conversation was way longer than 30 seconds. And that phone call was not traced. That was pretty bad. I also originally wrote down, how did that Chrysler not get any bullet holes in it? And then all of a sudden, one bullet hole. Then my thought process was, how did they not smell any gasoline on Jesse? Like, really? It dripped on him. It had to.
Well, they might have, but they just didn't care.
Yeah, that's true.
He was also like in a hole under the car, but that's where Walt parked his car. I don't remember. He parked like next to a bush. Like I don't like, did they?
That's why I have a problem with Uncle Jack's henchmen. Why would they not check underneath the car first?
I always kind of got the idea that Jesse like dug that hole in the fight, just to like
it would have been really quick.
Yeah,
but he's also under that car for like a long time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he knows how to be under vehicles. I mean, he was under the train, so yeah, that's where he got the idea. Mm-hmm.
I wrote a couple things down. Just Walt on the phone saying "bitch" is the jarring. Like when he call it, because Jesse slays that line every time, but Walt saying it like basically for the first time, you're just like, that was weird.
Yeah.
And I also think Skylar chasing after Walt, yelling like "No, please, Walt," is so similar to how the bride is screaming "No, please, Bill," when they walk into the wedding chapel in Kimball Volume 2. Like it sounds like she's almost doing an Uma Thurman.
Yeah,
and it works.
That's true. And I think the other thing I'll add too, there was watching this episode now. There would be a time if I watched this live that I would have loved to see 2014 Bryan Cranston as Lex Luthor. Like that phone call scene alone. I'm like, him as Lex Luthor or Lex Senior would have been phenomenal. Like, yeah, been awesome. Jesse Eisenberg, who? No, Bryan Cranston. That's who it should have been.
I can see it. You couldn't see it until he did this, though, right? Like, this was something no one knew Bryan Cranston had in him.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The midlife crisis moment of the episode for you guys. Todd, what do you got?
Well, I wrote down a couple things. One is just like walking around in your underwear for no reason.
Exactly.
I mean, I kind of get it. When you're out in the desert, like, whatever. And also, like, the moment when Jack talks to he says to his son, he's like, hey, look at that fancy phone of yours again, or whatever. Like, I mean, that's totally like a thing like an older person would look at, especially when this came out. It's like yeah. I mean, we all have flip phones, but he's got like a GPS on his phone. It's like, oh man, that is like so advanced. He can look up coordinates on that thing.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. My midlife crisis moment is it's Uncle Jack when he says basically, don't make me rethink my good mood. I have those moments where it's like, I'm in a good mood right now. Really don't waste it. Yeah. I understand those moments.
I'm sure his is going to last quite a while. He just made like $70 million.
It's true.
That's true. It's true.
All right, Adam.
Well, I guess mine would be, Bryan Cranston saying like, yeah, Bogdan's got a real stick up his ass. Yeah, everybody hates their boss sometimes. Yeah. So I think that could be a good relatable moment, but you guys basically took my underwear one. So that's what we'll go with.
The other thing I had written down was, read the room. Come on, Walt. Read the room. You have those moments sometimes like, oh, yeah, I completely misread that situation. My bad. Yeah.
Good call.
LVP. Adam, LVP.
Well, I'll save the Gomi stuff to you, but Uncle Jack's goons, like I can't, like the whole thing. I'll say it again. How did they not know that he was under there? How? How did they not know? Because there's no footprints. Oh, we couldn't find him, boss. Maybe went up the goalie. I don't know. This is weird.
I mean, they were expecting him to try to get away, not to hide under a car that they knew how to move at some point. Like, Jesse's really the LVP in that case. Like, what a terrible hiding spot.
Could like push it or tow it.
That's a good point. Hey, Jesse is the LVP.
Todd, LVP.
I just wrote down Walt's negotiating skills because he goes from like begging and pleading to giving up everything he has. Like so fast.
Yeah, that's true. I have $80 million.
Yeah. He was in pure desperation mode, like we've never seen him before. There,
he could have lied, said half that amount of money. Like he could have done anything.
$1 million. All right, I've got a couple things here for LVP. One is Skylar's knife skills are pretty pathetic. That was a poor performance by her. And the other one is all right, this maybe didn't happen during the episode, but hell, neither did Gomi's death. So I'm going with Gomi and Hank's shooting skills. They're cops, for crying out loud. And how many times did the two of them get hit? And I don't even think one of Uncle Jack's cars got hit. Like, they didn't hit anybody. Hank emptied every clip he had.
Not even a
Gomi, we don't know because they had to kill him off screen. But
pump action, yeah.
They didn't hit anything. They didn't hit anything. I mean,
well,
a broken clock is right twice a day.
Well, yeah, and Todd probably hit something too, but they had the upper ground, and they were.
I think Todd's the one that hit the Chrysler. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Off to the side.
They have
He's probably shooting at Jesse.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we got a history. I gotta shoot that bastard.
But come on. We can be better shots than that. I mean, Hank is the one that took out Tuco. And now he's gonna be like, I'm gonna aim 5 feet over everyone's head. Who knows? I don't know.
He didn't have slow-mo.
Well, Gomi was he had a shotgun. I mean, that's not something you shoot like up a hill with. Like, I mean, that was purely for security's sake with the arrest. He was not looking to get into a gunfight with that thing.
Well, and wouldn't Gomi have had his like issued firearm too? Like, he should have had a pistol too. Which meant Hank would have just had to get to his holster and get his gun and his clips, not necessarily get all the way to the shotgun. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
MVP. Todd, MVP.
It's Rian Johnson. I mean, you got to think that his impact on this episode is felt. Like, I mean, because it just is so layered and perfectly put together. It's Rian Johnson.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with. I have down someone we really haven't talked much about, but we did mention that this character kind of made the episode happen the way it did inadvertently, and that's Marie. Marie's kind of an MVP of this episode because for the first time, she feels like she has the upper hand in this situation with Skylar, and she can go to Skylar and demand things. And the only reason everything plays out the way it does is because she did. And now it's not. Skylar has someone standing beside her because they told Flynn. And now things are going to be different, and everything goes different at the house, like we said, because Marie had that phone call and could do something and had some clout to do it with. But yeah, that's my MVP.
Yeah. Well, it's also like Hank's ego, like the fact that he's done that before, where it's like he's about to make an arrest, he starts like snapping pictures and sending it to people before, like, he actually makes it. This is like, hey, I just arrested Walt. I gotta call my wife first.
Gotta wave at him.
Yeah. All right, Adam.
Okay, so I also had Ryan Johnson down, but because he could also be a stick man as well, because supposedly Guillermo del Toro really wanted to direct this episode and expressed that desire to Ryan Johnson. And Ryan Johnson's quoted, he said, who ended up directing the episode. Johnson responded, "Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm the one who gets to fuck the prom queen." I was like, "Oh, that's a great response." So, yeah. So Ryan Johnson.
I like it. I like it. All right. Well, we're gonna hear what Adam thinks is gonna happen next, but first,
We gotta have
the Walter White body count. I think I may have added more from this episode than any other episode
Mhm.
to the Walter White body count. And I might have missed something. I don't know. Tell me if I missed anything. But here we go. The Walter White body count now stands at 1 Emilio, 1 Crazy 8, 1 Ken Wynn's car, 1 Custodian's career, 1 Tuco hideout, 1 lock, 1 uneaten burrito, 1 paper towel holder, 1 backdoor to Jesse's house, 1 love of Jesse's life, a few burned $100 bills, of 1 pepperoni pizza, 1 career in education, 1 meth making RV, 1 beginning of a galeful friendship, 1 fly, 2 kid killing drug dealers, 1 Gail Bedecker, 1 fateful bottle of wine, 3 laundry worker jobs, 1 Walter Jr. dream car, 1 Pinkman living room, 1 great aunt Birgit, 1 secret underground meth lab, 1 Gale special coffee maker, 2 nameless henchmen, 1 Tyrus, 1 Hector Salamanca, 1 Gustavo Fring, 1 room full of evidence using magnets, bitch, a bunch of insects, 1 sanity of Skylar White, 1 kid on a dirt bike, 1 zip tie around his wrist, 1 Mike Ehrman trout, 10 imprisoned legacy loose ends, 1 GPS locator, 1 fabricated confession, 1 outfit and car soaked in gasoline. Forgot about that part. 1 Steve Gomez, 1 Hank Schrader, 5/6 of his cash, 1 Walt dream car, and 1 White family. And the Jesse ass kick count is now at least 11. We don't know how many off-screen beatings he took, but we'll go with 11, which means he now gets his ass kicked once every 5.5 episodes. I felt like I probably could have counted that as like 5 with the torture he went under, but we'll just count it as 1 because we only saw him once. Adam, we have 2 episodes left. It all just came tumbling down. Where do we go from here?
Well, I think obviously somehow Andrea and Brock will probably get reunited at some point with Jesse because he's not going to cooperate. And I still think that could be something that could happen where they get killed, but that means Jesse needs to kill Todd. I kind of want that to happen now because they got history, and obviously now we need to figure out how we take down Uncle Jack and get back everything that he has taken from Walt. So, but the sad part is, will the DEA ever know where Gomi and Hank are? Will they ever recover their bodies? Because no one knows where that spot is. There was a spot where no cell phone reception or service, so they may never find their bodies, which is, you'll never see them again line ring so powerful, and that's kind of sad to think about that. I kind of would like to see Skylar and Walt have some kind of like a scene, obviously before the show ends, just like well, there we are type of situation. But who knows? But that's kind of where I'm heading. It's going to be intense. I can't believe it's already 2 episodes left.
It's kind of snuck up on us, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Todd, you joined us for this one. Any last thoughts?
I mean, I want to watch the next one now, so
There we go. Oh yeah.
It's such a good episode. Like this
Wow.
one, like I said at the beginning, the whole show was building to a moment like this, and then we got like 5 of those moments all in the same episode, played to perfection. Like you couldn't have asked for them to go any better than they did. And hats off to you, mad genius Vince Gilligan. I think I saw Vince Gilligan was quoted about this episode saying it's the best episode we have ever made and will ever make of anything because it's just that good. So, all right. I think we're good. I think we're tying a bow on this thing.
Yeah. Well, I will say I hope everyone has an A1. Well, just have a better day than the next guy, okay? Just it could always be worse. You could be killed off camera. So just have a great day.
It's true. It's true.
It's good advice.
It's good advice.
Breakdown of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
All right. R.I.P. Hank. Sit and spin.
You guys have the phone number for the disappearer because I think he needs to come to play next episode.
Oh, that would be.
Who is that guy?
That'd be interesting.
He drives a van, probably by the river.
We're talking about this.
Like that, you are actually talking
By
about
the
this.
river.
Yeah. He drives a van by the river. Well done.